Hey everyone. When I first moved from the city of Sydney to the south coast, it was a big change. Suddenly I was surrounded by these vast open skies that just seemed to stretch on forever. The more I looked at them, the more I fell in love with just how much the clouds shaped the entire landscape below. It made me reflect how they weren't just background elements, they were the storytellers, weaving narratives across the sky. From then on, I decided I wanted to be a painter of clouds. Let's dive into this painting and take a closer look at what I mean. If you zoom in on the top half, notice how the clouds dominate the composition. They're not just floating up there, they're like the conductors of an orchestra, leading the entire scene with their rhythm and their mood. These clouds have mass, weight, and presence. You can see how I've used broad, sweeping brushstrokes to really build up their structure, layering the paint to create that sense of heaviness and depth. Now, shift your attention to the shapes. Notice how the clouds aren't perfectly symmetrical or smooth. They're jagged, irregular, with areas that seem to jut out and other areas that recede. It can sound weird, but clouds actually have personality. Don't be afraid to exaggerate these shapes to create drama. The clouds should feel like they're part of the same world as the ocean below, not just sitting on top of it. Speaking of the ocean, look at how the colour of the clouds influences the water below them. That soft turquoise in the sky spills down into the waves, creating a sense of harmony between the two. The clouds aren't just reflecting the light, they're setting the tone for the entire painting. Think of them like the lead instruments in the orchestra that I mentioned earlier. One practical tip when you're painting clouds is to start by blocking in their mass with a broad brush, as I've done here. This is the size of the brush that I started with. Once you have that base, start playing with the edges. Use a smaller brush or even your fingers just to soften some of the areas and sharpen others. This helps to create that contrast between the solid heavy parts of the cloud and the lighter, softer, more delicate wisps. Finally, think about the relationship between the clouds and the horizon. In this painting, see how the clouds seem to hug the horizon line, pressing down on the landscape. This creates a sense of compression, as if the sky and the ocean are in a conversation with each other. It's a technique you can use to add tension or calmness to your scenes, depending on how you want the viewer to feel. So, next time you're painting, remember that the clouds aren't just there for decoration or an optional afterthought. They can be the very driving force behind the whole composition, shaping the mood, the light, and the story that your painting tells. Thanks for watching and happy painting.